Hey guys, welcome back. Now, 2022 is turning out to be a frustrating, even painful year for the long-term investor. Crypto is down 20%. The ARK Flagship Innovation Fund is now down 51%. Netflix is getting crushed, down 68%. And even the mighty Amazon now down 27%. And if things are coming down, then wouldn't it be better to sell and then buy back in at lower prices? And so in this video, we'll be covering those questions and also I'll explain what is going on and why I think prices still have further to fall. We'll then look at the 3 most likely scenarios for how the rest of 2022 plays out and why you need a plan for all 3 so you don't get caught up in the fear and panic selling. And then we'll finish up with my plan on how I'm thinking and investing for the rest of 2022. As always, if you do enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like. Always appreciated. Okay, first up, when in doubt, I always think keep things simple. Now, yes, there are several factors going on, like shutting down the economy for 2 entire. Now, before we look at crypto prices, I think it's important to take a look at the bigger picture. And I kind of see the markets like a whip. And when you crack a whip, the top part of the whip doesn't move that much, but the end of the whip is where you get the huge volatility. So the higher risk stuff like crypto, tech stocks in general, see the huge moves at the end of the whip. But if you head further up where most of the money is, and what's really important to look at is the American stock market represented by the S&P 500. And this really explains in one picture what is going on. So we're picking this up from about 2012, and you'll see here is the channel where it was trading for quite a lot of years, and the S&P grows about 10% per year, so everything was going well. Then obviously we got to here, and this was the COVID scare, followed by the huge COVID crash, where it dropped 30% in a matter of weeks. And then what happened from here is that it created a brand new channel. This is where the Fed had to do an enormous amount of printing to make sure that the stock market didn't crash further. People were locked away for almost 2 years. We had stimulus checks, and this is what happened. We had this trend here, which is clearly unsustainable. And in 2021, the S&P grew almost 30%, which is 3 times what is normal. Now, so let me just zoom in a little bit further. So what I think needs to happen is that things probably need to come back down into this normal growth range. And this explains in one picture why I think things probably still could fall further. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. This is the interesting thing when it comes to investing psychology. Now, if things had just kept on growing at 10% and we were here, everyone would probably still be happy. But we were all treated to massive gains in 2021 intact. Now, let's take a look at crypto represented by Bitcoin, and we'll take a look at 3 likely scenarios. So here we have the Bitcoin chart showing the huge run in 2021. We had the 50% crash here, the double top, and then this bear flag has been painting out over the last few months. And most recently, it has broken to the downside, as a bear flag says that pretty much 2/3 of the time, when we see this pattern, it will break to the downside. So let's talk about the 3 likely scenarios taking us to 2023. So let's start with scenario number 1, and this would be best case scenario, the bull case. And we could get some great news, like the war ending quickly in Europe, or maybe inflation suddenly gets under control, or maybe something like a Bitcoin ETF going live surprisingly in America, and we would break to the upside and everything would look good for crypto, and we can start seeing some huge gains. Now, as far as what to do, this is quite simple for me. Everyone will have their own plan, but mine would be just to ride it up, and this would be the simplest scenario. Although I would love this to happen, I don't think this is the most likely scenario. Scenario 2 would be some kind of capitulation event, and as we're going into recession, this is now broken to the downside, and this continues, and we start getting some big sell-offs. And this may even go into some kind of capitulation event. Now for me, I just want to make sure that I get a great price on my next purchase. And there is some really strong support here, which is the $30,000 mark for Bitcoin. So this is where I'd be making quite a large purchase. Now, will it ever get to this, the 20,000 mark? I think if it does, it'll be some kind of capitulation event where we see a whole ton of liquidations, but I think it would probably bounce back pretty quick. It cleans out, it flushes out the market, and then maybe we can start building back up from here. And then strangely enough, scenario number 3 is actually my least favorite. And this is where we just continue to chop sideways, not really doing anything, not triggering any of my buys, and we just end the year pretty much going sideways. For the long-term investor, it would just require patience. But for me, this would actually be the most frustrating scenario. So I stand by the idea that because of the enormous money printing, stimulus check, shutting down economies, we saw an unsustainable run in financial assets. The S&P went up almost 30%, which is 3 times normal. Crypto went up almost 300%, which is clearly unsustainable. And then we've got everything else like a war, rate hikes, inflation. So as much as I don't want it to happen, I do think prices probably have further to fall. Now, I always prefer to plan for the worst, but hope for the best. And I think one of the problems we'll have is that there'll be too many things going on sale. Now, I'll try and be disciplined and just stick with crypto, as I think it's a huge growth sector, but I'd also love to get into the ARK Genomics ETF. The Genomics ETF has been crushed over the last year, and I think the whole sector will do extremely well over the next 5 years. And one of the key points I keep reminding myself of is every time we have these big runs in crypto, I always look back when prices were getting smashed and wish I had bought more when prices were down. And for the rest of this year, this could well be that time. But I want to make sure that my next buy is at a great price. So I'll be looking for a Bitcoin price sub 30,000. And if it drops below 25,000, I'll be trying to grab everything I can to invest. But another great strategy would just be to dollar cost average and make sure you hit all the points as it's going down. Now, let me just finish up reiterating the principles and themes of this channel. This is not investment advice. This is simply what I am doing myself, and it's based on my own personal risk profile. I always have at least a 1-year time frame for everything that I buy, and having been through a 3-year downturn in crypto, I am more than willing to wait 6 to 12 months. And lastly, I can and sometimes will be wrong. So just use this as a reference point of many, and then you'll know what to do for yourself. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Try not to get too down, as almost every long-term investor is losing money right now, whether it be stocks, bonds, crypto. But also remember, cycles always reverse and summer will come again. But it looks like over the short term, we could be headed deeper into winter. And having said that, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like. And a big thank you to everyone who does. If you haven't yet subscribed, click below and join us. Got some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. Okay, cheers guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.